Hello, everyone. My name is Dawn Takacs, and this podcast is The Point, coming to you from Pittsburgh, where we talk all things wedding in the city and beyond. And today, I have one of my dear friends. Her name is Taylor Meyers from Meyers Precision Planning. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
I've been trying to get you down here for a while.
I know.
Truth be told, she lives a little far north of Pittsburgh, closer to Erie, right?
Yep, pretty close.
Where are you at?
So I'm in Venango County. So a lot of people, if they hear Franklin, they know where that's at. So that's closer to where I'm at.
Okay. And then tell me, you do service the Pittsburgh area, though. You've done weddings from Franklin all the way down. You go into Erie. Tell me your geographic area.
Yeah. So where Franklin's at, it's really nice because it's halfway between Pittsburgh and it's halfway between Erie. So kind of where we live at, it's an hour and a half either direction. So I kind of refer to where we live as like the sweet spot because we're halfway in between.
Okay.
So yes, absolutely. We've done weddings in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yes. And so I want to get into some questions right away to help our Pittsburgh brides get to know you a little bit better and get some tips and advice from you. So you define your wedding planning experience as a laid back and enjoyable experience. Tell me what that means.
That means I want the process to be fun. I want it to be enjoyable and to where I get to a relationship with brides where, you know, it's not just us talking 4 to 6 weeks before the wedding. We're texting, we're sending each other memes probably, to where they feel like I'm more of a friend that they can rely on and somebody that's there for them through the whole process. So laid back, like that I'm their go-to person and not putting so much stress and pressure on everything. I mean, and also it's a very important day, but you're supposed to have fun. You're marrying your person, you know, let's enjoy the journey. Like, let's enjoy the process, you know, not have everything be like so uptight or anything like that.
No. And knowing that you have somebody in your corner as a planner, day of coordinator, full service planning, whatever, and knowing that you can trust that person is essential. And that comes from building a relationship and communication.
Yeah, absolutely. And even on all my agreements, whether it's day of or partial or full planning, I put in there they have unlimited contact with me.
Wow, that's very generous of you.
I'm someone that I would rather you text me at like, let's say 5:00 on a Wednesday and tell me your question instead of you stressing, feeling like, oh, I can't talk to her till closer to the wedding. I'd rather we talk it over like what maybe takes like a 10-minute problem. And you're fine. You're at ease and you're okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bubble.
It's not hanging over
exactly.
Their head, whether it's going to be something that they're going to be able to resolve or not. And especially if it's an issue or a problem. Right?
Exactly. I want them to feel like they don't have to hesitate to reach out. I do tell them sometimes, you know, as I do work during the day, that it might not be a right away thing, but I will get back to you.
Sure.
Like I won't leave them hanging.
Great. And that is going to lead me into my next question for you, which is what inspired you to become a wedding planner?
It is 100% my mom. 100%.
Okay.
Because this was something me and her were supposed to do together because my mom, she could whip an arrangement faster than anybody I've ever met.
Okay.
Like she was like the decorator of our family. Like she rearranged my aunt's living room for her. Like she's that person. And it's something we talked about, but unfortunately her health declined and she went to early Alzheimer's when I was in my late 20s. And there was a point where I didn't even know if this business was going to happen because I wanted to do it with her. You know, like I was like, why do I want to do it if she's not with me?
Yeah.
And luckily I got lucky and I met the love of my life, my husband, Mike. And he was the one that kind of helped me say, if there's something you wanted to do, your mom would want you to do it. So, and I finally worked somewhere where I could make it happen and be able to give all my time to the brides that they deserve. So I finally bit the bullet and I started it in 2024. And unfortunately, that was the same year my mom passed away.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I know it's with you daily. We have conversations about this that are not on podcasts. And having lost my mom in 2024, nothing fills that void.
It doesn't. And it's an ongoing process. I think we've talked about before that the grief never leaves, but you learn to live with the grief, let it live with you. And I always feel like my mom's always with me at every wedding. Like if I'm super stressed, I'm like, Mom, please help me right now.
Yeah, you told me something like that happened to you just recently? Share that story. I think it's a great story.
Yeah, it was a wedding, I think, in the beginning of summer. And it was one of those things, I'll admit it, starting my bit, I bit off more than I could chew. Like, I'll really admit it. That's exactly what happened. But I had I was like, we're going to get it done. But I had a moment where I felt like I was going to throw up. I'm like, I don't know. Can I pull this together? Can I figure this out? And I kind of put my head down. I was like, Mom, I really, really need you right now. I was like, just please tell me just to suck it up and get this done. Just please tell me. And I don't know what it is, divine intervention. I don't know to this day. But 2 minutes later, I was fine. And we got everything done. Like, I was just able to pull it together.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel my mother's presence with me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in my weakest moments as well.
Same. Mm-hmm.
And it's a comfort to know that they're still there.
Yeah, no, it is.
In a different element, in a different way.
Different capacity.
Yeah, different capacity. I definitely feel her, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt. So I'll share one of my stories with you if I haven't already shared this story with you. So my mom was on hospice for 8 months.
Yeah.
And when I would go visit her, she would always start crying and be really upset when I would go to leave.
Oh.
And because this is all new to her, she's in a facility. She'd lived by herself for last 30 years, right? So she was very stressed about that, and she would start crying. And so before I would leave, every time I would open up my phone and I would play Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Oh, I like you told me this one.
Ain't no enough to keep me from you. And we would sing it, and we would be grooving on it together. And it wasn't particularly a song that was her favorite or my favorite. It was just my message to her. I'm coming back. I promise you. I'm
Bring
coming
me a tears,
back.
lady. What do you do?
No. You cry.
No.
But, and then fast forward, I would do every day that I would visit her, and I would visit her probably every day. And then when she passed, it was a while before I went back to an event. It was about 2 months. My staff handled everything. And the very first event I went to was a casino party for a charity gala. Non-wedding, right? We start the casino off. What's the second song that comes on?
Oh boy, Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Oh boy.
And I'm literally talking to the client and tears are welling up in my eyes. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to go. And I looked at my manager and I was like, I gotta go. And I got in the car and had a private conversation with my mom. And I'm not going to get into detail on that, but I really felt her presence with me. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I said, I miss you madly, but I know the burdens that you had here on this earth, you no longer have. She was diabetic. She had a heart condition. She was blind. She had all these things. I was like, I'm so comforted knowing that those burdens are gone. When I got home, I explained this experience to my husband of what happened. I sat him down and I said, the song came on. I got teary-eyed. I got in the car. I had a conversation with my mom. I didn't say to him what I said in the conversation. He looked right at me, Taylor, and he said, well, at least you know your mom doesn't have the burdens she had here on earth.
Oh, wow. I got chills. I don't think you never told me that before.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was my affirmation. I was like, because we had never used that term before. And I was like, there's no way he just pulled that out of nowhere. I knew that my mom's spirit was with me. Fast forward, it'll be 2 years in April. Every event I do, and I want to underscore that event was not a wedding. So that's a wedding song. Yeah. You might hear it at a wedding, not at a casino party. Every wedding that I've done, it is the second or third song that comes on. And
whoa.
I'm not even in control of the DJ or the music. And even my one DJ, the last wedding we did, the second song came on and it was that song. And he's one of the DJs that works with us. It's Jason Hinkle. And we were doing a wedding together. And I was like, Jason, why did you play that song? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, you don't know the story? And he's like, Dawn, no, but and I explained the story to him. And then he said, Dawn, he said, I don't know what it is. He's like, when I was doing their songs and planning their playlist, for some reason I got inspired to play this song and I never play this song.
Wow. Yeah, she's definitely around for sure.
Yeah. So she keeps reminding me that there's ain't no mountain high enough to keep me from her. And I hope you get those same little.
I do. I feel like I do. And I always say to everybody that my mom, if my friends will testify to this, that when I was there, my mom was a helicopter mom. For sure, because I was the only child.
Okay.
So she was a helicopter mom. And I always said my mom would never abandon me. My mom would never leave me. And that's how I truly feel is that. So whether it's if Stevie Nicks randomly comes on or something, or there's times I randomly find photos of her that shouldn't be in places where they shouldn't be. That's happened quite a bit.
Sure.
So I know like she makes her presence known, and there's always sometimes at weddings where it's just like I need a little extra oomph. Usually it shows up in one way or another.
I think being creative helps you work through the grief.
It does. And I think I even said to you, because she'll be gone a year in December. She died a few days after Christmas last year. That's why I kind of banged out starting packages, because I was asked by a lot of brides, because I can understand when you're going to book, you want to know exactly what you're getting. And I felt bad because at times it was a little vague. So all I had was my day of package. And sometimes I was doing more than that.
Sure. And
it wasn't as outlined. And as a bride, I would want to know. Like, I'm a very visual person, so I'd want to know.
Right.
So that's why I now have my packages, because like you said, just working on my business, it makes me think of her, but in a positive way.
Right.
So when I work on it, it's something we would have been doing together, or again, me thriving. It's just, I want this to be her legacy too. I want to do well. Yeah. So there's a lot of drive there too with that.
I'm a big believer that being creative comforts your soul. We nourish our minds, we educate ourselves, we take care of our bodies by, diet, exercise, health wise. And the thing that nourishes our soul is being creative.
It does. 100% does.
We need that. Wow, I created this. And I think one of the things about being in the wedding space or event space in general as a planner is I have personally through the years defined that there are basically two types of people in the workforce. Now, this might sound odd, but there's doers that get shit done.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you give them a task and they will execute it and they can handle anything. And then you have people on the other side of the spectrum that are creative and they can see visions and they can bring those visions to life.
Yeah.
I think the people that excel in the wedding space are the people that can bring the two together.
Absolutely.
That they're doers and they're creative and that they have both talents that they can combine. That's a deadly combination.
Oh, it is.
For this industry, because I see a lot of creative people, maybe not doers. Or doers, maybe that lack the creative aspect.
And I think that comes from a place where there's a lot of dreamers too. Like everybody, has dreams, but I think it's easy for people to forget that dreams take a lot of work too in the background. I would never stop anybody that wants to be a planner, go for it.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Go for it. But hope that if you're willing to be on the line for someone else's special day, that you give it your all.
Yeah.
You put the work and the effort into it. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes being a planner isn't pretty. Like, I'm sorry. It's not like what the wedding, Jennifer Lopez's movie. I'm sorry. It's not like that.
How many planners do you think got inspired by that movie? And then, I can't
probably
deal with this.
I mean, that was early 2000s. So yeah, there's probably a lot of them that did.
I think too, a lot of misconceptions and misunderstanding about wedding planning is the dynamic of all the emotions and the family element and the different personalities with the vendors and the venue coordinators and everything. And having somebody that's even keeled and can handle that. And you can basically throw them into a fire and they know how to put everything out and calm the chaos.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is planners, coordinate. We put out the fires. We are the firefighter in the scenario.
I wear that hat.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too is, especially from the emotional standpoint too, is unfortunately my mom was put in the nursing home a couple weeks before my wedding. So we had to go through transferring from the hospital to getting her. And it was actually, oh my gosh, it was over Mother's Day's weekend now that I think about it. So I had a lot going on, like mentally. Like I knew my wedding was coming up. I was excited, but at the same time, it was tough because she wasn't able to make it. She had just been transferred, and I wasn't going to put her through that. So it's always my goal to make sure every bride, they will get that moment with their mom, their dad, aunt, whatever. I'll make sure it happens. because unfortunately it didn't happen for me. So I'll make sure it happens for everybody else.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like when we do weddings and we're bringing in the photo booth, sometimes the moms are a little bit reluctant to get a picture with their daughter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not having that. Like you have to get a picture with your daughter because you couldn't, someday your daughter's never going to have enough pictures of you.
Yep.
And this is your one moment that you have a chance. And then I like, wink, wink, I have a beauty filter on there, girl. Everybody
that lures everybody in as a beauty filter.
But, and it's also like relishing that moment, unfortunately. And I feel the same way when we're going to talk a little bit about angel weddings in this podcast as well, as like I met the love of my life after my father passed.
Yeah.
And I didn't have an opportunity to have him walk me down the aisle. And he would have loved my husband. Yeah. He would have absolutely adored him. So this has inspired our angel weddings and helping couples whenever circumstances change. And it makes it important for them to move up their wedding so that they can have dad there. They can have mom there. And I love that our community together, we've begun to facilitate that and make that happen. And you were a big part of the last one. You were one of the first people I reached out to. We had Becky and Ashton and their dad, Pete, was really sick. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
A little bit more. I don't want to make you cry right now.
No, I'm okay. Right. Okay, I'll put it together. I'm doing okay.
You're okay?
I'm okay. I promise, guys, I'm okay.
But angel weddings are where we help facilitate that. And that's a big part of our platform and what Pittsburgh Brides does. So if you find yourself in that scenario and you live in the area and you need help, feel free to reach out. We come together as a community pro bono and we help to facilitate and make those weddings happen so that they can happen before time passes and you can't take it back. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it was a beautiful wedding.
It was so beautiful. And especially the location and everything. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful that day.
Yeah. And I want to we'll talk a little bit more about this when Kara arrives.
Yes.
We'll get her in the hot seat. But let me ask you some more questions about Meyers Precision Planning. So what inspired you to be a wedding planner, aside from your mom being a very decorative person, a very design person, and she has a creative element that you inherited? What was it that you said, I'm going to do this?
So funny enough, I've been wanting to be a wedding planner since high school. But my parents said no, and they made me go to college. And like, no, you have to get a degree. So
Smart.
So I do have a Bachelor of Science in Business Management through Pitt. Okay. Go Hail Pitt, just saying. Hail Pitt, guys. That's where I got my degree from. And unfortunately, just after the economy, at the time when I graduated college, I just couldn't find a job to where I could maybe try to start that. And again, my mom and I had talked about it, but it was hard. I worked in retail a lot over the years. The schedules are unpredictable. The hours are crazy. And I wasn't going to start it if, I couldn't commit to it. Right. To commit to the brides, because it's an important day. So I want to make sure I had the time. Yeah. And it just wasn't having a lot of luck my first 10 years after, high school and graduating college. Sure. I just couldn't make it happen, and like I said, and then when mom got sick, I didn't know if it was or not, but I've been wanting to do it for a long time. So yeah, it probably was Jennifer Lopez that inspired me. I'll admit it, guys. Okay.
J-Lo.
Yeah, that's the movie. And then I was that person, like I watched all the David Tuteras. Okay. I watched all that stuff and anything wedding related. My friends know I was obsessed even from that time period too. Sure. And they're always said, you should go into doing this. I'm like, I really want to, but I don't know. We'll see. Because I was doing all the events, the decorating, all the family events. And I think a lot of planners start out that way too. Yeah. Doing that type of stuff. So
my take on that is I've been an entrepreneur since I was 22 years old. And my take on that is follow your dreams or somebody else will.
That's a good standpoint too.
Right? And if you do not do it young, I find a lot of people say, I wanna, and then they end up in they're 45 and they're still working for somebody else and they've never taken that dive. And now they're too afraid. They have all these reasons. Well, I have insurance, I have benefits, I have a pension, I have all those things. And I'm like, the life of an entrepreneur, I am so glad I took that dive at 22. And I basically worked at the casino, I think from 7 until 12. I worked 5 years in the casino, and that's the only job I ever had in my life, pretty much, other than 18 years old, flipping burgers. But the life of an entrepreneur is one that is so empowering. It gives you that balance of, work-life balance. Although wedding planners,
it's all different.
make no mistake about it. Like, they work 8 days a week, and I'll say that over and over again. I don't think people really have an understanding of the scope of work that they do and how much that entails and how busy we are, that we're literally on weddings on Saturdays with people messaging us wanting quotes and confirmations of things for their wedding for a year away. And so it can be a little bit, you have to be a good multitasker.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, especially with me, like I still work full time too.
Yeah.
Myself. So, I mean, my evenings and weekends, it's this.
Sorry, honey. I have work to do.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, guys.
And I know you're going to be taking that dive into full entrepreneurship soon, because you already have, 20 weddings booked this year?
I have 13 so far.
Okay. And it's not even the end of the year. So you're doing fabulous.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. And you're such a great communicator and a great asset to Pittsburgh brides. And thank you for helping the brides in the community.
No,
you do
of course.
a great job with that and helping them with feedback and comments and insights and perspective on things that that can assist.
Yeah. And it's been wonderful being part of this community and meeting you and Kara and everybody. And it's nice having that support too, because at first when I started, I kind of felt like I was by myself, So the more weddings I do, the more vendors I get to know.
Yeah.
It's nice building that network of, again, other colleagues, obviously, but friends, like these are my friends too. And just all these brides, like getting to meet them and talk to them. It's so great. Like, and I know everyone asks, if you ever dealt with like a bridezilla or anything like that. And I was like, no, like everybody's so nice and kind. It's wonderful.
We had a venuezilla once.
A venuezilla.
Not anyone in Pittsburgh. That's all I'm going to say.
I have a feeling I know who it is. It's okay. I won't say either, but I think I know who it is. Keep my mouth shut.
I will say the comment. I have known. I actually took Taylor to meet one of the venues.
Well, he did.
And I couldn't believe that this happened, but I'm introducing, this is Taylor, and she looked right, the venue coordinator, the owner just looked right at her and said, "What?"
I said, "We have no need for a wedding planner."
Yeah.
Yep. It's like, okay.
Who says that?
I don't know. It did catch me off guard a little bit, but I'm like, okay, you do you, boo boo. Like, I can't.
Even if you think that you do not need one at your facility, you might be able to refer a bride to her. Right? I don't understand. I just didn't, that kind of like, you and I both looked at each other.
Like, what just happened?
What just happened? Like, I can't believe that just came out of someone's mouth. But I want to get back to some questions that I have for you. So let's talk a little bit about day of coordination.
Yeah.
There is a huge misconception, I think, that the brides have about day of coordination and what that is, what that means. And I think it's specifically different for every planner.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Tell me, I know you're a little bit more ambitious. So what does day of coordination mean to you? What does that look like?
Day of to me means, yes, having communication, throughout if they have questions or anything like that. But the main thing is they usually have their vendors picked out by the time they get to me.
Sure.
So like we're not part of that aspect of it. We're more or less talking to the vendors maybe 4 to 6 weeks before, unless again there's something that pops up or you need to reach out for some reason. But it is mainly like those 4 to 6 weeks where you're getting fully involved. You're messaging the vendors, confirming times and working on the timeline. I feel like you do start a little bit sooner, just to start having that draft go back and forth between you and the bride.
Okay.
So I do feel like with day of, sometimes the brides do take care of more of some of the back end stuff farther out from the date, but then closer to is when like, okay, I'm going to step in. This is where we take over.
Yeah.
At this point.
And the logistics.
Exactly. And the logistics too.
Timeline, logistics. What about, and I think a lot of brides, this is a
big one.
Caveat.
Yeah.
Decor.
Very.
Tables, decor. Setting the place. Like, I think many of them assume that when you hire a day of coordinator, that automatically is part of your task. And I know for you have you have your husband to assist and help.
Yeah.
But typically day of coordination means coordination, not decor.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. And again, that's a learning thing that I've started to do again, the bite off Mark and chew, that starts to come into play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it falls back on me as my responsibility to clarify that with brides more ahead of time as well.
Right.
And that's something I've gotten better about. I was surprised one time to walk in and be like, oh, I'm doing a cookie table today. Okay. All right. Or sometimes there is more setup than we anticipated. Right. So I think that sometimes falls back on the planner to, double, triple check, what decor am I in charge of?
Sure.
And if there's like a couple things, like, hey, can you sit my faux arrangements down at the ceremony space? Sure. But if you're talking about us doing like, draping, lights, which we have done on the fly before, and that's not usually part of it.
Right. And like even something as simple as the cookie table, first of all, that should be handled by some catering staff, right? You have gloves and everything like that. And there's companies that do this. There's companies that come in and do the decor and do the cookie table and do all the aesthetic setup. And usually the day of coordinator or planner is helping you contract those individuals to come in. They're not actually a set of hands that is setting everything up and then at the end of the night tearing everything down.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's something we add on though. Like we add on, like if you want to do tear down, we add that on as like an extra.
Right.
Because you have to think too, what might have only been like an 8-hour day can easily turn to a 12, 14-hour day.
16-hour day.
That too, exactly. Yeah. Especially if you are doing setup and doing tear down plus the coordination.
Right.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And you're getting pulled in different directions, whether it's a vendor or, a family member has a question.
Right.
So that too, if there is a lot of decor, that means, whether do we need to bring like even another person with us to make sure it just runs smoothly.
Yeah. And I'd like the brides to realize that, just because you've done all this pre-planning and logistics ahead of time and you have a well-organized timeline and everything doesn't mean that you're not going to be like a piece of rope being pulled in so many different directions. And if any task that you have that seems maybe minute to the bride, such as, let's put the place table numbers on the table and the little cards for each guest and what have you, and that doesn't seem like a big deal, can be a really big deal. It can really quickly kind of consume you and overtake your day and derail you from being able to make sure that other things are happening and that the vendors are checking in on time and, they know where they're going. All those things.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's the thing too. If you are doing like decor and other things, it makes it hard to purely just coordinate.
Yeah.
Because you are being pulled in so many different ways. That's why I'm grateful I have my husband Mike with me. I would not survive without him.
We both have a secret weapon.
Yes, we do.
My husband keeps saying, honey, when can I retire? He keeps saying, when can I retire? And I said on your tombstone, and I'll read, Billy Takacs finally retired.
There was one wedding we were at where it was a photographer, but she also had her husband with her. And my husband was talking like, oh, how'd you get in the industry? And he's like, oh, my wife trained me. And he's like, we need like a support group or something for husbands in the wedding industry.
That's actually not a bad idea.
No, so that's why so if you randomly see one pop up, guys, it was him that started it.
Yeah, no, and I say that with all the love in my heart.
Of course.
My husband is amazing. And one of the things I love about him when we do weddings together, like he'll see the decor people or the wedding planner and they're trying to hang something or they're trying to do something and they're just struggling with it. And he'll be like, I'll be right back. And he'll go get his toolkit and he'll come in and he'll be up on a ladder hanging their neon sign or, whatever it is that they're struggling with. Like he's an all in kind of guy. Like that's just him by nature. And I think that's what makes us a really good team because he is a doer.
Yes.
And he is creative as well. So him and I can both look at things and go, oh, that doesn't look right. Let's move this. And, he's the hammer happy guy. He gets all the pounding time.
No, so does Mike. Like we always have what we bring with us. We kind of call it our snap tote is what we call it.
Okay.
With like like your zip ties. He always brings his tool thing with him too. So it's the same thing. So if he sees someone putting out chairs or something, he's like, I'm just going to go help do that.
Yeah, no. And like, that's what it takes to be successful in this business. And that's what it takes to get a great review from your clients and brides. If you love your vendors, be sure to take a moment to write them a review. It's the best thing that you can do for them, be it in Google or Facebook or Yelp or, on any of the wedding websites. It pays them over and
it
over
does,
and
100%.
They don't realize and how much they helped you when you were shopping for someone, right? When the brides were shopping for you, they were reading reviews. So you're paying it forward.
No, I would take a review over any cash tip any day of the week.
Right. Agreed. 100%. 100%. Give me the love.
Yeah, I want love. I love love. What's the love?
The love is when we get the little cards in the mail.
Aww.
From them.
Oh, so
I'm going to read one later. I'm going to read it later to you. What memorable moment that was challenging? How did you handle it? How did you overcome it? Do you want to answer that?
No, I do. There's quite a few, so I'm trying to think of and in particular.
Okay.
I'll say, I almost feel like when stuff happens, it seems to all happen like the same wedding. That's the reason I had to kind of think for a minute, because we've had some where they've went pretty smooth.
Yeah.
But we've had some where it's like the twilight zone. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But we had one, I would say it was like later in our season where unfortunately went to go unbox the cake and the frosting had split from the heat. And I was like, oh boy. And if it would have been a vanilla cake, you probably wouldn't have noticed it. It was a small cake, but it was chocolate. So you could see it a mile away. And I was like, oh, crap. And Mike at first is like, do we say anything? I'm like, no, you don't say a thing to her. Are you crazy? No. So I didn't want to check to make sure I was allowed to touch it to fix it because I didn't pay for it. It's not my cake.
Right.
So I asked my other bride, like,
before and after pictures, like before I touched it.
Yeah, I have it too. Like everyone see it, I'll show it to you. And but I asked my other bride, like, hey, I sure like this is what the situation is right now. And she's like, oh no. She's like, just fix it. Just fix it. I'm like, okay. So it required a trip to the dollar store with some frosting and a little smoother thing. Mike did a wonderful job. Maybe it should be a side hustle. I don't know. But the cake looked great afterwards. You never know. And I felt bad because the baker, she was very, very nice. She felt so bad about the situation, but she had other deliveries and she could not make it back to fix it. Hence why.
Sure.
We ended up being the fixers that day.
And it was a smaller cake.
Yeah,
right?
luckily,
it wasn't a really big cake.
No, thank goodness. I don't know what we would have done if it was a bigger cake.
I actually like the trend for the smaller cake.
I think they're so cute. Those are like a trend right now. And I think they're adorable.
I think it's part economy and part just aesthetics. Like it's just nice to have a little cake and then have a big sheet cake in the back.
And that's exactly what they did. And like I said, if you look at the photo, you'll never be able to tell.
Right. Exactly. Good money saving tip. Right. Small cake, big sheet cake in the back to cut and serve.
Yeah. And I mean, you've probably seen it before. There's so much cake left over all the time.
Especially with Pittsburgh and the cookie table.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I just did an event and it was a 50th birthday party and they're Italians, so they wanted the cookie table even though it wasn't a wedding. And then they had the cannoli girls come in and they had a birthday cake and there was enough sugar to put everybody of the 100 guests in a diabetic coma.
That's awesome.
Right? Like,
I love that. Not the coma part, sorry guys, but I love sugar. So
like it's overkill. And you have to take that into consideration when you're doing a Pittsburgh wedding, because if you are doing the cookie table, there's a balance there between the cookie table, the cake, and, whatever other sweet items that you might have for your guests, and not to oversaturate that. And, another thing that I see is how many cookies are left at the end of the night.
Yep. And I understand, like, it's so sweet. You have relatives, all these people pouring their hearts into these cookies, and they're wonderful to see.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. Sometimes the ratio's off by how many people versus the enormous amount of cookies that people bring.
And I personally think 4 to 6 cookies per person is on point.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people say 12 cookies per person. I'm like, first of all, a third of the community is going to be gluten intolerant.
Yeah.
Or they don't eat sugar.
Yeah, my husband's diabetic.
Right. I mean, there's those two things. So that's going to take out about 30% of the crowd. So now you have 60 or 70% of the crowd.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's some people who just don't eat sweets. Right. So to say 12 per person, I think is a lot. I think 4 to 6 is good. And I would go towards 4 if you have a cake.
Yeah, you have something else on top of it.
Right.
Yeah.
6 if you just have a cutting cake and you're not serving any sliced cake. Like, it's crazy. It's so sad to see how many cookies get like Reeboks, and you know that no one's eating them.
I mean, I do, but not all. I will admit,
taking multiple bags with them, right?
Yeah, we had my nephew. He helped us at one wedding, and the minute he found out he was allowed to fill a bag, you thought it was his birthday. He was so excited.
My husband does this. He's like, "Go get me some of those lady locks. Go over there. I don't want anybody to see me over there getting any cookies. Go get me some of those lady locks." I'm like, "Oh, so it's okay for me to
get them, but not you."
This is a big one for me.
Okay.
I believe that because people are being so mindful of their budgets, that sometimes one of the first things they want to cut or they will not consider is a wedding planner. What is something that's unexpected, a benefit that you get from a wedding planner that you never maybe would have realized until you hire one?
I think one thing that people definitely overlooks, I think the role of a planner coordinator is starting to evolve. More people are starting to understand the role more, I do feel like. But at the same time, one of our biggest jobs is to telling your guests where to go. Like that is one of the biggest things I'll say. Is telling people where to go. But in general, we are the ones that put out the fires. Like you don't see everything happening behind the scenes. Like you don't see your cooler that leaked all over the floor and that we're the ones that cleaned all the water or the cake.
Yeah.
Or, we even had an incident where, unfortunately, we had to go to the ambulance.
Yeah. Tell me that story. I remember you telling me the story.
And it started out, it was actually the same wedding that it actually happened with the cake thing.
Oh my gosh.
So, and this bride, I will say this bride was wonderful. She was so sweet. And it was a beautiful day, and she was very happy with how everything turned out. That's the thing, too, with having we help conceal what's going on in the background so you can be in the moment and you're not having to worry about it. But what had happened...
That's the whole point.
Yeah. So what happened was this relative had actually left the ceremony because I'm not feeling good. Like, I need to sit down. And I was getting ready to walk everybody down the aisle, kind of start to guide everybody. And that's when my wonderful husband stepped in and he took care of her. Because she didn't even make it into the building. I guess he had told me that he had guided her to the ground. He's like, "Let me go get a wheelchair for you." And he had taken her back to the fridge where there was a cooler area.
Yeah.
And kind of gave her some water and cookies, and she seemed to be okay for the moment. And, he'd even suggest maybe stay in the chair, don't move around too much. But at one point, she had gotten back up, and unfortunately she had fell and hit her head. And there was someone there, luckily it was an EMT as well. And the name was to show up. She was talking, she was verbal. We think maybe to do with her sugar.
Yeah.
Possibly. We're not 100%. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Was it a hot day?
Very, very hot.
Yeah. I think that's one of those unexpected things that couples don't think about.
Yeah. And I told them afterwards, she's okay. She's going by ambulance. She's all right. Because it was during dinner. So they kind of could see what was going on, but they kind of couldn't. Between me and relatives, we're like, everything's okay. She's okay. Yeah. And I did follow up with her. I think I want to say it was a couple days after, and she was leaving the hospital that day.
Good.
So she's okay.
Good.
But that's part of it too, is where we get involved and we help with that because we're human. We care. We see someone's passed out. There's concern that takes presence too.
And it's the things that you never anticipate that are going to happen that you're there for.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And your relatives didn't have to worry about it. They were able to enjoy the ceremony because Mike looked after her during the ceremony. Yeah. She wasn't alone because that was the big thing. I didn't want her to be by herself.
Sure.
So that was the main thing, is that everybody was able to enjoy the day and she was okay and she was safe.
Sure.
Is the thing that we were worried about.
And when we did that angel wedding and I had Paul come, one of my employees, he's an angel.
He is. Paul. We love Paul.
And I told him, I said, I have an angel wedding and I have a special job for you and I need you to come to this wedding. And I introduced him to Pete, who was in a wheelchair on oxygen. And I said, Paul, you're his shadow. Everywhere he goes, you go. You make sure that he doesn't fall. You make sure that he has help getting up, getting down. You make sure that he has oxygen. You make sure that he has water or drink or food if he needs it. Anything. Your sole job is just to be his shadow. Why? Because I didn't want the bridal party to see Dad was weak and come running to help, especially in the middle of the ceremony or what have you. I didn't want to take away from the experience for the couple and the family. We unfortunately didn't have a nurse. That turned out to be a much bigger burden day of than I ever anticipated. That angel wedding that we did, have absolutely zero regrets. I'm so glad that we did it. But the fact that Dad had was so weak, and that we had to like have our eye on him the whole time, put a whole dynamic on that wedding that was very stressful. I'm so grateful that Paul was there. I love you, Paul.
We love Paul.
Yeah, everybody loved Paul. The family said that nobody could stop talking about Paul for the next week. They're like, he was Angel Paul because he just took such good care of Dad, but still gave him his dignity and let him walk her down the aisle and stayed back.
That was amazing.
My God.
That was wonderful to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tearjerker, guy.
It was definitely a tearjerker. We will talk about that. I want to wait till Kara gets here, but that was a really good analogy. And it's the things that they don't expect. You can be a type A personality. You can have a book and a binder. You can be a project manager for your job and say, hey, I can organize my own wedding. I got this. And I'm sure you can.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you can. A lot of people do. What you don't expect is, the human behavior, the emotions of the day, the weather, the flat tire, the forgot the keys, all these things that can happen. And even dealing with the emotions of the family and everyone. I think that is something like, it's kind of good to be once removed from it. Right? So like you have the bride and the groom, and then you have the wedding planner, and then you have, somebody's having a meltdown, and it's really nice to have that wedding planner step in and say, hun,
it's all good.
I got a needle and thread. I'm going to fix your dress, or I have somebody bringing you some shoes since your heel broke. Like, I've got you, I've got this handled. And they're the calm. They bring the calm. They bring the certainty. They let everybody know, hey, we're getting you married regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? This is going to happen. Ain't no mountain high enough.
Exactly.
Right? We're going to get it done.
Yeah, it's going to happen. One way or another, it's going to happen. Ability. Okay.
When you work with vendors, and I know that you reach out to vendors on behalf of your couples, and sometimes you're unfamiliar with these vendors.
Yeah,
getting to know them. You're relatively new as a planner, right? What are some unexpected scenarios that have come up that you've learned from and went, wow, I never saw that coming?
One thing I'll say, and I'm sure other planners can attest, sometimes it's hard because sometimes vendors don't reach back out at all, unfortunately. Yeah. So sometimes getting them caught up the day of when there's already a lot going on, that can be a little bit of an obstacle.
Sure.
But I always make sure, like, whether you respond to me or not, here's the timeline, here's what's going on.
Right.
And just working with them on the fly. It is nice to, just like get to know them a little bit beforehand. So I'll say that's an obstacle. But one thing, and I'm saying with all the love in the world that I can, and I love brides that have family members, relatives as officiants. I think it's beautiful. Yeah. But the one thing we keep running into, and Mike will attest to this, is that when they're not experienced and they don't know, is they forget to tell everybody to stand up for the bride. We've had that happen 3 times in a row.
Okay, stand up for the bride. 2,
guys, tell them to sit down.
2, tell them to sit down.
Please tell them to sit. I've gotten better just going up to them being like, have you ever done a wedding? No. Okay, cool. You need to write this in your notes.
Yeah.
Because
that's experience.
Yeah. And it's just, it kept happening and happening. I'm like, what is going on? Because we had one where, I don't know if it's because I'm short or something, but I didn't realize they were standing for as long as they were till Mike was like, I think they're still standing.
Yeah.
So luckily I was able to pull a fit. Like, she had to go up to the side while they were doing their vows. And I was like, girlfriend, you need to tell them to sit down. They got girls, they have heels on, they need to sit down.
Yeah.
So, and it was really cute. She's like, oh, everybody sit down,
Yeah.
But it kept, so that's one thing I will stress. I really hope officiants do work with planners that are inexperienced. So we're here to help you. We're here to make sure you're comfortable. But yeah, that's one tip I can say. Please have your officiants write that in their notebooks to tell everybody to stand up and sit down.
Or just if you have a friend or family member that's going to be a vendor or DJ or officiant or anyone for your wedding, and you have a planner, make sure that you make that connection happen.
Absolutely.
Ahead of time,
yes.
Because that planner is going to be able to say, hey, I really appreciate that you're going to be a DJ for their wedding, but here's my timeline. Here's what we're doing. Here's the announcements. And they can kind of like give them, and they can, because they may not be one and the same. They may not be copacetic, right? The DJ may be on one playing field with his list, the wedding planner on another, and then sometimes the photographer's on another. Like, in this triangle, all 3 of these people need to collaborate and coordinate to make sure that you execute everything magnificently. And when you have somebody that's a friend, sometimes the assumption is, well, I'm the friend, right?
Yeah,
I'm the friend. I'm beyond needing to communicate or coordinate with these other people. But it's really critically important, I think, for the couples to have that full transparency. Everybody's talking, everybody's engaged with each other.
Yeah. And I think, and I don't want to say it's like a stigma with something with coordinators or planners, but I sometimes think that vendors were that we're trying to micromanage them during the day. Like, no, we're not there to do that. Like, you do you, like, they hired you for a reason. You know, so I like when vendors, we work as a team. Like, so we're all trying to do the same thing. Like I'm not there to do. I don't know how to be a DJ. I don't know how to bake a cake. Like, I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're there to support you. Like, we're there if you need help, or, you know, in our case, like, we always bring a table with us just in case. We've had a couple cases where DJs didn't have a table, so they've used our table a couple of times. Right. We're there in their corner too, to make sure they have everything they need to do their job.
Sure.
The best of their ability. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's the biggest thing, is working together as a team.
From a vendor perspective, and this is a tip for the brides.
Yeah.
From a vendor perspective, it's better for me personally as a vendor, photo booth, if you bring the wedding planner in early, like at the point where we're negotiating and we're contracting and everything, and you're looping them in, you're CCing them in, even if they're not responding to those emails, that they see everything. Because if you book me and your wedding is a year away, and 30 days before your wedding, when we've done all the artwork for you, we've contracted the times, we logistically have contacted the venue, we've made arrangements for delivery, we've done everything that we're supposed to do. And then the wedding planner emails us and says, hey, can I get all the information about, you know, your services, what you're offering, what your timeline is, your insurance. And so what it does is it essentially makes the vendor do it twice.
That's a good point. Yeah.
They have to do it, you know, initially, and then they have to do it again for the wedding planner, which is a little frustrating if you're in the middle of wedding season.
Right? It's already a hectic season for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is no disrespect to the wedding planners, because they're just doing their job. It's the brides that I want to say, loop them in. You know, I say that you book your planner or your coordinator early. It should be one of the first things that you do. At least interview one, so that you know you have one if you decide to go that route 6 months in and you say, I'm saturated, I'm overwhelmed, I want a planner. But loop them in early. The most respect that you can pay to your vendors, to your wedding planner, we're all communicating together, we're all seeing everything together. And it's not, holy cow, I've got to get, you know, make time in my week to answer all these questions for this planner, and the wedding is 2 weeks away.
Yeah. No, and I think sometimes that's what happens too is, and again, all respect to the type A brides, that they have their crap together. You know, the thing is though, like, do you really want to be worrying about all that stuff that day? Like, you can't clone yourself. You know, you want to be enjoying the morning, drinking mimosas, hang out with your girls. You don't want to be worrying about that. You know, so that's the whole point too. Even if you're the most organized person, you can't be in two places at once.
Sure.
Is the main thing. And that's what we're there for.
Yeah. And that's the unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. The unexpected, for sure. But I do see that as a trend where it's closer to the wedding and they start to panic. Is sometimes when I get the email or the phone call, you know, but it's becoming more of a mixture. I'm seeing some like a year out. You know, like you said, because I have 13 for next year already.
Yeah.
So I am starting to see more ahead, but I won't be surprised, like, come 2026, you know, I'm going to have probably some booking for 2026. That's probably going to happen.
And I guarantee you, if you book a wedding planner, and I've said this before, if you book a wedding planner early, they're going to save you money. They're going to find ways to save you money. They're going to see ways that you're wasting money. They're going to see ways that you can save money. And the money that you spend on a planner or a day of coordinator at minimum is going to come back to you in time saved, aggravation, frustration. And hopefully along this process, like, you have smooth sailing because everybody is communicating with everyone. We're all in it together to win. It's a win-win all the way around for everyone. That's our goal always.
Oh, it's always the goal.
We always want to leave the event and say, killed it. That was an amazing wedding. We were so privileged to be a part of it. And that comes back to communication. And I know this is another caveat, like, sometimes they'll book a vendor and then, you know, months will go by with no communication. It's okay to send a little in touch email every 90 days or so. Hey, Dawn, I just wanted to say, hey, I'm so excited to have Emmy photo booth wedding. Like, and that might trigger a reminder for me to say, oh yeah, I need to send her gallery so that she can pick her artwork, kind of thing. Like, keep that communicate. Don't wait until we're on the 30-yard line and it's field and goal.
Right? Yeah, no, I'm not trying to do that.
So we decided to bring Michael Meyers, Taylor's right-hand man, husband, who has been in part her inspiration for going into wedding planning.
Yeah. I couldn't do it without you.
It's been a very exciting journey.
Yeah, how so?
Just, I'd never seen the value until we got married. How important a wedding coordinator is until I seen it at our wedding, and then what she does with the brides we just did this past year. Money well spent. She thinks about things that the brides don't have to worry about.
I like that. It's nice to get a man's perspective. Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you can think of that comes to mind?
Just some of the stuff we had a cake that broke down when it got delivered.
Yeah, that's what I was telling her about.
11 o'clock at night, we're at Walmart for one of the brides because they were using their arch. They had big yellow sandbags to hold their arch down.
Yeah.
Well, of course, you can't have that in the pictures because exactly where they're going to get married. So we went to Walmart that night after we got done setting up, 11 o'clock at night, and we got, I think they were...
Like window shears?
Window shears,
cover
just white windows.
Yeah.
So you didn't see the yellow bag.
So you're a fireman and a fireman.
Yeah.
That's an inside joke because you are a volunteer fireman for your community.
Yes.
Yes. And then you're a fireman at weddings putting out fires.
He is. He
100% is. I got the double fireman with me. And I'm sure even like when that woman became weak and was passing out, like I'm sure that's not your first rodeo on that either.
Oh no,
right?
No. She was having a rough day. She should have just stayed in the wheelchair. She would have been fine, but she wanted to interact, and the
temptation was there. Yeah. So I mean, I get it.
Does he? Do you find that you help him find his inner creative side when you're working together?
He's pleasantly surprised me quite a bit. It was our last wedding of the season. We did. She had made these big cardboard boxes for her cookies, but they were just stacked in Walmart boxes. And I'm like, I don't like how this looks. So I just slid them under the table. I was like, I'll deal with this later. I come back. He had freaking like stacked them all pretty, had drapery over them, and then like made a cute display of the boxes next to I'm like, holy crap. It looks so cute. He's like, well, I know you wouldn't like those boxes just sitting out. So I came up with something. Oh, I was so sweet. Like, this is so cute looking. Like, I never would have thought of this.
I was like, I can bank this.
Yeah. So it's just like little things like that. Like I've noticed like his eyes starting to grow a little bit too. But he thinks sometimes of design aspects I would never thought of. And he's more like, this is not going to work. People are like,
yeah.
I just sometimes get an idea in my head. Sometimes like, no, I don't know if that's going to work. So sometimes he does bring me down to reality.
Right.
Sometimes too. And I think I do definitely need that.
Yeah, Bill and I do that as well. We can both look at a situation and a setup or something and be like, I think we should do this. And he's like, no, I think you should do this. And then I'm like, oh, good idea. Not often, but usually it's him telling me.
I can't tell him he's right all the time. I can't do that.
I was never a decorator until she started the business and stuff. So
it just kind of happens.
She made me into it, and I know 90% of the time I know what she's gonna like and don't like. So
does she love what she does?
Oh yeah. I always feel bad for the brides that don't book with her because the amount of time and emotion and she puts into her brides, like you're probably not gonna find that anywhere else because she feels everything the bride does.
Don't cry.
That's just so sweet, babe. How could you do that? It's really
yeah. No, that was actually so well worded. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that because you're
so sweet.
To succeed in this space, in this industry, you have to have a passion for it.
You do.
Money's not enough to get you through. Like there's no amount of money that you can make that will get you through, 18-hour days. Like when we did that angel wedding, what time were we there? 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Didn't get out of there until midnight, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it was crazy. And that for us, we had a wedding the night before that too.
Right.
And then you had a med call.
Right.
That morning.
So, I mean, people don't really understand. They're like, oh, you have the photo booth for 4 hours. I'm like, no, I'm loading the truck at 10 in the morning and I guarantee I'm not getting home till midnight. It's like, it's 4 hours of service to you, but it's all day for whoever is coming out and dealing with that. And then dealing with all the different personalities and emotions of the guests there. I mean, that's a big part of it. And you have to have somebody that has a really even keel, like, aura about them and a really even keel temperament about them, because people are going to come at you, like, especially if you put a name tag on, they're like, where's the bathroom? Where's the bar? Where can I get more ice? Where can I get this? Where can I get that? And you're multitasking. You're doing a wedding. And you're trying to execute the ceremony and the procession and everything. And, grandma's coming up saying, here's my cookies. I brought them. Make sure they get on the cookie table. Right?
You can tell about that.
You're going to make sure they get on the cookie table, right? And you have clipboard in hand, and you're actually trying to get the ceremony started, right?
We've been kicked off the cookie table a couple of times this year.
We have.
That was our task to, the family members going to bring cookies in. We're going to take care of it. Not a problem. Well, we start doing it, or the aunt comes in, the grandma comes in and says, no, I'll do this. And she don't want you anywhere near the cookie table. And
which is fine. Like, if
that's fine.
Yeah, we don't care.
But you don't want to go against the bride. The bride wants the family to take, focus on the wedding. It's
fine. That balance is
That's funny. That's a Pittsburgh thing, though, right?
Yeah, they want to help. Like, a lot of relatives are so sweet and want to help, but it's like, no, go drink, go enjoy the day. That's why we're here. Like, go.
But that's the origin of the cookie table.
It is, though. It is. And I think it kind of comes full circle, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's their loving touch.
It is.
It's like decorating the tree, right?
Exactly. And I mean, and they did beautiful. It was that last week. We showed up expecting, we're crank out the cookie table. It was already done when we got there. It looked beautiful. They did a beautiful job. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of relatives have so many passions about it. I put my heart and soul into making these cookies, and they're really good. Every time I think, the cookies are so good. And it's sweet. I love seeing all the different recipes and them telling me about it. And I love hearing the stories behind them too.
Yeah. And there's no matter how many trends you have for a wedding, it's really nice to have some traditions stay intact.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's unique because everybody does their own version of the first look. We had a couple of them. They actually did complete first looks. We had one or two that just did touches. The first touch.
Oh,
that was
they
new.
just touched hands.
Yeah,
it was really sweet.
Yeah, that was new. And there's been other ones that they didn't really do anything. Like they were together the whole time.
Okay. Taylor?
Mm-hmm. I think one that is starting to grow on me is we only had it done one time where the couple actually got married on a Thursday. And it was very intimate, family. But then 2 days later, they had a raver. Like 2 days, we came back 2 days later. But they were from out of state, and they're like, we want more time with our family. Like, we want to spend more time. And it was really laid back, too.
So they had a raid party, like, on Saturday night as their celebration.
Mm-hmm. We came back 2 days later. Like, they had a small, like, intimate thing, like, maybe, 30 people were at that. And it was beautiful. And we came back 2 days later. They rented a big tent. They did the chairs, the furniture, the catering, like the other half of it, I would say.
Sure.
So I'm starting to see everyone's kind of doing their own thing, whether it's a small intimate thing, if they're like, hey, we're going to have a reception a year later, so I admire that couples are really deciding like what they want to do. Like
big time.
Yeah.
Big time. This generation is saying the heck with tradition. I'm doing it my way, how I want to. And it's the first generation to do that. Mm-hmm. And I love that. Like 30 years ago, if I could have worn a black dress and got away with it with this red hair, I would have done that in a New York minute. I was always intimidated to wear a white dress because of my coloring and because my figure. I'm a little curvy, right? I don't want to wear a white dress and red hair and to get washed out. I want a black dress. I'll rock that dress, right? But one of the things I'm seeing with this generation of brides, Gen Z, is that they're like, I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. But I want this for my wedding. And I want to do donuts. I don't want a cookie table. I want a black dress. I want to elope and then have a rad party on Saturday night. And there's a huge uptick in that now.
Yeah, there is.
There's a huge uptick. I had 4 weddings this year where they did the intimate ceremony on one day, and then the next day they had like a 4-hour party. And think about that from the guest experience. When you get invited to a wedding, what do you automatically think?
You won't be there a while.
The whole day.
Yeah, the whole day. You're going to be there.
Your day is gone, right? You're getting dressed. You're getting ready. You're going at 12 o'clock. You'll be there at 3 o'clock ceremony. And you're likely not leaving. And if you're under the age of 60, you're probably not leaving till 10 o'clock or so, right? Yeah. By the time you get home, it's midnight and you're all sugared up from cookies and cake. But that's a whole day. In our culture these days, a whole day is a lot of time to ask from someone. And I think that's why so many brides are seeing like less people wanting to RSVP promptly and encouraging them, getting those RSVPs in early. And I think that the concept of having a small intimate wedding with my besties and my family, and then having a rad party with all of my peeps is 4 hours. Who's going to say no to 4 hours? And then think about it too. You can have pastoral. You don't necessarily have to have a seated dinner. You've eliminated that expense. You have a DJ, you have some music, you have a photo booth, casino games, a magician, you have some type of entertainment. It is about the experience, and everybody's having a good time. You can rock that second dress. The only thing that I think, and here you don't even need like the whole bridal party thing with all the dresses and everything and that expense. It saves your friends from making that investment. This is just my feedback.
Oh, I like the one that we did where we came back Saturday. It was a lot of fun. Like they had the DJ like do the game where they sit in the center with the chairs and they had to go find stuff or like bring a person back up with them. It was hilarious to watch.
Oh my God.
It was fun. I had the videos of it. It was so funny. And like everyone was having such a good time with it too. Like everybody was participating. It's one of those times where I feel like it could either go great where everybody participates or just depends on your crowd.
Sure.
If they had a party. I think, how long did she tell us they stayed that night? We had left already, but like what, 2 a.m. I think?
Yeah.
I think the whole week they were up till like 3 o'clock just playing games and stuff like that.
But it was her mom. Like it was their family just all hanging out, playing games and stuff. So
being in the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. And we made sure like Saturday, hey, we have everything cleaned up, guys don't really have to do anything. Like, okay, we really appreciate you. And I had messaged her, I think, like the next day or two. And they're like, oh, yeah, we stayed up to like 2 a.m. playing games and stuff. I was like, I was in bed, but I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, there's nothing. Is it hard for you to go to bed sometimes when you come home from a wedding?
It's like to settle down, I'd say. Especially, I think you do stay up a little later than I do.
Well, maybe hyped up.
You've been going all day.
Yeah.
You've been going all day, and you
killed it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you killed it. It was success. Everything fell into place just like you expected. You solved any problems that you had and you killed it. And you're like, I'm just all hyped up. And maybe part of it's the sugar. Maybe I had too much caffeine. But I have a little bit of trouble going to sleep when I come home from an event such as that.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's why you're kind of like reliving each day, each moment of that day, be like, oh, I'm so glad we did this. Or, even you do think, oh, I could have done this a little bit. It's almost like, I know me and you kind of like a debrief after, when we're on the drive home, we're like, what did you think? How did we do with this? So, got like that too, just the drive. Because, we usually do have a longer drive because of where we do live. So we usually have a lot of time to talk. Agreed. But it does take a little bit to settle down, I think, from the high of the day is what I kind of call it.
I have a new trend that I'm becoming fond of. I wasn't fond of at first.
Mm-hmm.
Social content creators.
That is growing. That is very much growing. I'll say that.
I think it works well for Generation Z because it's the immediate gratification of them getting their content within 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not cinema quality content. It's not DSLR, 1080, full resolution, edited film and all of that. But it is something that they can have immediately to remember their day and to relive their day and see the moments that maybe they missed and, bash it all on social media, blast it to everybody on social media. And I think that there's value in that. I know you worked with Madison Costello.
I did.
And she is the content creator for Pittsburgh Brides, as well as an independent with Mad Cat Media. How was it working with Madison?
She was great to work with. She was so fun. And I love that she was trying to get a lot of the behind scenes stuff too. But her and the bride and the girl, they had a ball. They made so many videos. And what's cool with her, with a content creator, they know the trends, whether it's TikTok or anything. They know the video trends. So like if a bride's like, oh, I want to do this trend, like, okay, let's do it.
Right.
So they just had so much fun. I could hear the girls laughing upstairs the entire time before the wedding.
Which kind of takes a little bit of the anxiety off, right? It's also part of the experience. It's not just the content that they're creating. So shout out to Madison Costello at Mad Cats Media on Instagram if you need a social content creator for your wedding. And I know her personally. I've known her, I'm going to say since the pandemic, and she's just a delightful girl. She was one of our team members working events with us for a while. And I kind of gave her a little bit of a push into entrepreneurship. And I said, you're really good at this social media thing. You should try this. And so she's taken flight with that, and I'm so happy for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love to inspire our young entrepreneurs. And okay, so I know I showed this to you. We're going to pop it up on the screen for you so that everybody in the audience can see, but it's the wedding color for 2026, and it's called Minted, MINTED, which is a combination of chartreuse yellow and chartreuse lime into what I fondly like to say, baby puke.
Is that the one you showed me?
It's the one I showed. Yeah.
And so, not to be biased, and maybe for a very high-end wedding, you could somehow work this color in. But in Pittsburgh, first of all, we're very finicky about gold.
Yes, very,
right?
very pink.
There's gold, and then there's Steeler gold.
Yeah.
Right? We're very meticulous about that.
Yep.
And so when you're bringing in a yellow, you better bring in a yellow that is Pittsburgh friendly. And this yellow is just like, I had a sample of something over here that was similar to it. It's like, but to show Mike, but you did show it to him.
I did. Yeah.
It is in 2 words, 3 words. What is it?
It's a choice.
It's unique.
So political an answer.
It's the choice.
And Mike, what was your thoughts on that color?
It's unique.
Maybe I would, the only times I'll say maybe spring or summer, like I can't picture it in fall or winter.
No!
I can't. Maybe so.
It would have to be another flat color. It couldn't be
maybe Christmas for the Grinch theme wedding or something.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Again, a choice. You know, you could do you again. You do you, boo boo. It's your day. You do you. But it was a choice. So.
Right. And we respect that, because there are some people that are just going to love that color. And again, I think it might be better if you're doing a destination wedding or a Caribbean wedding. You know, you're on Destin, Florida, and the beaches of Mexico or somewhere, a cruise wedding, something like that. I can see you bringing that color in. I don't see it in fall in Pittsburgh.
I don't. I mean, I almost see it more as like sometimes people pick their palette. Like if it's like a type of green, like, oh, that's like the stem.
Yeah.
Like, that's your base. Like, and then you have your pop color. So maybe have it be here, like your base color.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So the last question I have for you today is I'm going to ask you, because you're new and this was your first year, how many weddings did we have? 20?
For my first season?
Yeah.
I think it was close. Including the angel, and we did 13 weddings, 2 baby showers, and we did that separate reception. So we were at 15.
Okay.
For our first year. And we got lucky. Our first wedding was like at the beginning of March. So we kind of got our feet wet a little bit before like the craziness of the main season started.
Sure.
And then so we're already up to 13 for next year, and it's not even the year yet. So I have a feeling we'll be busy, and I'm so excited.
Wow, you're killing it. So Taylor, I'm going to ask each one of you. Taylor, what was your favorite moment of the weddings that you did last year?
Just seeing like the couple, like seeing them have their like own moments, like you could kind of see the looks they give each other. Just them like being in the moment together. Like, you know, I'm not saying like I'm fully responsible for that. I'm not saying that. But just being able to see it in person, it's special. And it's a privilege.
Let me rephrase the question. What was the one moment you will never forget from your 2025 weddings?
I think I would probably say the angel wedding, honestly.
Yeah.
It was an emotional day. I mean, you know, personally for me, it was an emotional day. But at the same time, just seeing it happen. You know, it's one thing to see something on paper and to talk about it, but then to see it come to fruition, it's really, really special.
And what moment in that day hit you the hardest?
Was first look with her dad. Because I wanted that with my mom too. And the fact that we did it, like we made it happen. It meant the world to me.
Yeah.
So just seeing it, I said, a moment. I don't gonna lie, you know, I had a moment that day.
And the bride Becky would say it meant the world to her, but here you are sitting here saying it meant the world to you.
It did,
and that's what makes you special. That's your gift, because you really love you can tell, like Michael said earlier, how much heart you put into every wedding that you do.
It's important to me. I don't take being a coordinator lightly. I don't. It's important. It's an honor when someone chooses to have me be part of their day, and it's something, like I said, I don't take for granted.
That's very clear. Michael, what was your most memorable moment from 2025?
It was a combination of how well the bride and groom took care of their guest, like with the late night snacks and making sure you didn't have the traditional dried chicken or undercooked fish. They took care. Some of the weddings we had, they had late night chili, late night pizza, hot dogs s'mores. It's just how much the bride and groom took care of their guests.
Make the sure loving touch.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that, a little extra something.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one wedding made sure everybody had blankets.
That was nice. Yeah, they used it too.
Just a little touches, make sure the guests were comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really important. It's about the guest experience. More than anything, it's about the guest experience. I think a lot of couples, they start off with their vision and what they want, and then they realize that there's 100 people coming and that you need to make sure that they're comfortable, they're well fed, they're well hydrated, that they're not in a barn and it's 104 degrees and everybody leaves the wedding because it's so freaking hot. You and I did that wedding, right?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was so hot that the entire wedding, they ate and they left. They were all outside or they left because they just couldn't bear it. And these are things, if you're doing summer weddings, that you should definitely consider. I have enjoyed having you on the podcast, The Point.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for being a member of PittsburghBrides.com.
Of course.
You can find Taylor at PittsburghBrides.com under Wedding Planners and Coordinator. You can also find her how?
www.MyersPrecisionPlanning.com.
And you do free consultations.
Of course.
Get on the phone, get on the Zoom. Let's chat. Let's see what you need. What are your price points? And it's 2025. So in all fairness, price points starting at
$895 for day of, and then full planning starting at $1,800.
Okay. So there you go. And I'm a big believer too, that that's such a good investment. At $895, day of coordination, helping them, or 60 days prior and helping them logistically and everything. And then you're their day of so that they can enjoy their day.
Exactly. A lot of times I always tell brides too, the day before, I'm like, this is it. This is when you hand it over to me.
Yeah.
You hand me the keys, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's the goal for them, just to enjoy the day. That's what I'm there for. I'm your wedding bestie.
Yeah. Passing the baton. So thank you so much for joining us today. If you've enjoyed this video and getting to know Taylor and Mike Meyers from Meyers Precision Planning, you can find them again on PittsburghBrides.com. If you've learned anything from this video, and I hope that you have, because that's the purpose of the Point Podcast, coming to you from downtown Pittsburgh. This is Dawn Takacs. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, like this channel, share it with your friends and family if you're in the wedding planning. See ya.
Bye.